Investors at the Nigerian stock market take advantage of low prices to keep the bulls in place. COVID-19, Nigeria's Finance, Budget and National Planning Minister Zainab Ahmed makes case for middle-income countries like Nigeria from Bretton Woods institutions. Private sector coalition on COVID-19 known as CAR-COVID raised close to 26 billion naira in Nigeria. This is Business Express reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed say a debt relief agreement reached at the IMF World Bank Group virtual spring meetings to help the world's poorest countries deal with the coronavirus pandemic was a welcome first step, but that middle-income countries such as Nigeria and other IDA with debt challenges also needed urgent help. Zainab Ahmed said most sub-Saharan African countries were particularly vulnerable to the pandemic because high rates of self-employment meant social distancing could not be sustained for long. The minister, who also spoke on behalf of Angola and South Africa, supported a call by African leaders for $100 billion in aid for the continent to deal with the pandemic, with $44 billion earmarked for immediate debt relief. The Development Committee of the IMF and World Bank Group decision to support International Development Association member countries through grants, concessional IDA 19 resources, and time-bound suspension of debt service, the body in a communique issued at the end of its virtual meeting in Washington said IDA countries are severely affected by the pandemic. It also welcomed the coordinated approach agreed by the G20 and the Paris Club, supported by the WBG and IMF, towards a time-bound suspension by bilateral official creditors of debt service payments for the poorest countries that request forbearance. According to the IMF and World Bank Group Development Committee, the WBG has the financial firepower to provide a meaningful long-term response to this crisis, thanks to the capital increases for IBRD and IFC, as well as the successful IDA 19 replenishment. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association, Pengerson, says it has suspended plans to embark on industrial action. The action was necessitated by the unconditional release of its members April 19, 2020, through the intervention of relevant authorities. Pengerson President Ndukaku Michael, in a statement, called on the federal government, relevant agencies and all oil and gas industry stakeholders to guarantee unfettered movement of oil and gas workers on essential services in all territories of the Federation to enable them continue to provide services. The statement also called on the Federal Ministry of Health and the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) to immediately adjust its COVID-19 testing protocol to include all offshore-going workers. This is Business Express reaching you from Abuja. The program continues after this break.
Let me assure Nigerians that all COVID-19 intervention funds are safe in the Treasury single account, and that government is still open to donations in this regard. Government has opened special accounts with 5 commercial banks which are directly linked to the Treasury single account. Donated funds are safe in the Central Bank of Nigeria. For verifiable information about the funds and other financial obligations of the federal government, please contact us directly at the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. The account details for the donations are as follows.
Federal government has constituted an inter-ministerial committee with a mandate of ensuring food production and supply during the lockdown period. The constitution of the committee is based on the security threat and challenges associated with movement of food items and farmers' access to their farms in lockdown states. The committee consists of Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Minister of Defense, that of Police, and the Commandant General of the Civil Defense.
The ministry has also developed immediate, short, and medium-term plans to mitigate the risks of COVID-19 on agricultural value chains and also to help in generating momentum for post-COVID-19 recovery plan of the government, with agriculture providing the main thrust for achieving growth, diversification, and domestic job creation.
The ministers are currently holding a closed-door meeting on how to carry out the mandate. Food maintains a vital position in man's hierarchy of needs, as propounded by Abraham Maslow. The production, supply, and distribution networks have come to limelight in the wake of lockdown propelled by coronavirus. I am now being joined via telephone by Professor Ibrahim Umar Abubakar, the former Director, Institute for Agricultural Research, IAR, Zaria. Together, we shall be discussing agriculture as a gateway to economic survival amidst coronavirus and global economic uncertainty. You're welcome to the program. Prof, if you can hear me, you're welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Adams.
Okay, Prof, we hear alarms of potential hunger, falling global oil prices, and lockdowns across the globe. Now, how expedient is it for farmers to return to their farms?
Thank you very much. You know, COVID-19 is a very precarious situation for Nigeria. We are in a situation of being between the devil and the deep blue sea, because on one hand, we are prevented from coming out as a protection against the disease. And on the other hand, we need to go out to actually produce food for the teeming populations of Nigeria. So this is really a very challenging situation. I'm happy to hear that the federal government has set up an interministerial committee to ensure that farmers go to farm. Not only going to farm, to be able to dispose their produce. As recently as this month, I know of situations where farmers are unable to harvest their produce, particularly the dry season farmers, because of lockdown in some states. Similarly, farmers are unable to market their produce because many rural markets have been locked down. This is really a very big situation, situation for Nigeria. And it's a big lesson for the country. We have been saying over time and time, that we need to produce what we eat. Because every country all over the world today has locked down their borders. Even if you have money, you may not be able to get food to buy. So we must put concerted efforts. Whatever effort we can as the government, as a people, we have to put in order to ensure that farmers actually go back to the farm. I'm happy to hear that the federal government has further subsidized fertilizer to now 5,000 naira per bag. This is a good situation. At least it will encourage farmers and also enhance their productivity. The other aspect I would like the government to actually do is also to subsidize improved seeds. You know, seed is critical to production. Seed will raise the productivity of farmers. It will increase the yield of farmers. So critical improved seeds of food security crops such as maize, rice, sorghum, cassava, yam, vegetables should actually be procured and provided to farmers at subsidized price. This way, farmers will actually produce enough for the teeming population of this country. And also the fear created. You know, there is a lot of fear. I'm afraid personally to go out now because of the news I hear over the media, all kinds of media, social media, television, radio, and so on about the virus.
Okay, Prof.
So
talking
we
about
should allay-
okay, Prof. Talking
Yes.
about the fear of the virus and having campaigned for subsidies, for more subsidies to come in for inputs for farmers,
Yes.
and saying farmers should go back to farm. What about
Yes.
social distancing? How will farmers be able to handle that?
You see, like I said, there should be a strategic opening of market because the producers and consumers have to interact. So that interaction has to be guided by code of conduct of the COVID-19, social distances, protection using the masks, and so on. But there must be interaction, because if there isn't interaction, it means farmers will not be able to sell, and there will be glut. At the end of the day, this will further dampen production.
Okay, Prof.
So we should, yes.
What is the fate of Nigeria's food supply at present? Is it possible to farm even for export at this particular time?
You see, the issue now is not even about export. Nigeria as a country is still a net importer. We are not yet self-sufficient in food production. We are almost there, but we are not yet there. So we should be able to provide enough food for the 200 million Nigerians, to provide food and nutrition security for the teeming population of Nigeria. That should be our priority now, not about export. Because even if you are able to produce enough food for this country and prevent importation, that is excellent. If we are able to prevent importation of food, that will be excellent for this country. We should be able to produce what we eat and eat what we produce.
Okay, Prof, are you now saying self-sufficiency is still a challenge for us? Less we talk about export?
It's still a challenge. It's still a challenge. It's still a challenge. And that is why all hands has to be on deck. Research institute have to be strengthened to do more research. Extension, which is very weak now, has to be strengthened. The agricultural development projects that are now comatose should be revived to provide effective and efficient extension to farmers.
Okay, Prof.
Teach farmers on how to produce. Yes.
Prof, talking about research, I know at IAR, when you were there and even now, a lot was being done, and I want to believe a lot is still being done to ensure that we close this gap of this sufficiency, much needed sufficiency we need. What immediate steps do you think should be taken immediately, following where we are, to ensure that we are self-sustaining and going beyond that?
Okay, immediately, the Federal Ministry of Agri should take stock of the existing foundation and certified seed in all the research institutes, particularly of the food security crops, so that this can be harnessed together with the seed available with the private seed companies. This improved seed should immediately be made available to farmers. That is one. Secondly, you know, when you are talking of crops, you also have to talk of livestock. We have our sisters who are brothers and sisters who are livestock farmers. They need to be supported also. Massive vaccination against diseases such as rinderpest, foot and mouth diseases that militate against the productivity of farm animals should be done as a matter of priority, so that we have not just only grain available and in sufficient quantity, but also protein, animal protein should also be available in sufficient quantity. I'm made to understand that poultry farmers, particularly those who are producing eggs, are now having difficulty disposing their eggs.
Okay.
I read a report in newspaper yesterday about poultry farmers in Kaduna stocking so much eggs that they cannot dispose. This is a problem. The market should be open up. People should be allowed to take up these excess produce because some of these are perishable. Tomato, eggs, vegetables, they are all perishable. Give them 3-4 weeks, particularly in this era of heat, they cannot survive. So it is important that concerted efforts are done by all concerned to ensure that not only production, but distribution and marketing have unfettered access in this country. This is a situation where it's an opportunity for us, a big opportunity for us to wake up to know that we cannot survive as a nation without food security.
Okay.
Like I often say,
Okay, Prof.
yes.
Still talking food security. Should Nigeria pay increased attention to multi-cropping season? Can that also help?
Yeah, multi-cropping season. We are already on it. You know, we grow crop around the year in Nigeria today. We intensify our production. We have production during the rainy season, production during the dry season. Even crops that were hitherto not grown during the dry season are today very popular during the dry season, like rice, for example. So we should intensify the use of land. We have the opportunity to actually produce 2, 3, or even 4 crops per year in this country. We can grow crops during the cold dry season,
Yes.
during the hot dry season, and during the rainy season, and so on in this country.
Thank you
we
so
have the
very much, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, for sharing your thoughts on Business Express. We will get to talk more as we provide solutions to making our country better during these trying times.
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you, Prof.
welcome. Yes.
Investors in the last week took advantage of low prices to increase their portfolio, making the week to record the most gain since the COVID-19 decline began. Let's join Moplang Dakog for a weekly rundown.
It was another 4-day trading week on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange last week because of the Monday public holiday in commemoration of Easter. A total turnover of 1.4 billion shares worth 12.8 billion naira in 20,982 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange. The NSE All Share Index appreciated by 7.19% to close the week at 22,921.59, while market capitalization stood at 11.946 trillion naira. All other indices finished higher, with the exception of the NSE SM Index, which closed flat. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 1.2 billion shares valued at 8.4 billion naira traded in 12,835 deals. The healthcare industry followed with 72.9 million shares worth 386 million naira. The third place was the consumer goods industry. Trading in the top 3 equities, Omoluabi Mortgage Bank, FBN Holdings and Zenith Bank accounted for 755 million shares worth 4.5 billion naira in 5,758 deals. A total of 52,216 units of exchange-traded products ETPs valued at 103 million naira were traded in the week in 15 deals, as well as 2,495 units of federal government bonds valued at 3 million naira in 12 deals. 37 equities appreciated in price in the week. 21 equities depreciated in price, while 105 equities remained unchanged.
The market rally continued into this week as stocks resumed the session upbeat but failed to hold ground. At the close of trade this Monday, the all-share index lost 0.01%, a marginal decline to close the session at 22,920.41 points. Market capitalization closed at 11.9 trillion naira. Investors exchanged 345.4 million shares valued at 4.2 billion naira in 4,930 deals. FBNH, Guarantee and Transcap recorded the highest volume of trade and closed as the toast of investors to end trading for the first day of the week. The Dow is battered by market concerns along with unimpressive oil prices despite global efforts to ease glut. Amina Nujaim takes it from here.
Markets were mixed in early trading on Monday after China cut its benchmark lending rates as expected. Japan's Nikkei fell 1.15%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index declined 0.20%. The Shanghai Composite advanced 0.5%. European stocks started higher Monday, continuing the rally off the lows from the coronavirus pandemic on data showing the disease spread is slowing. The FTSE 100 advanced 0.3% as well as the German DAX that inched up 0.25%, while the CAC 40 declined 0.11%. On Wall Street, hopes of reopening plans have propelled the Dow Jones Industrial Average 2.99% to its best two-week run since 1938, according to the Dow Jones market data. The Nasdaq advanced 1.38%, while the S&P was also up 1.38%. Stocks in Africa were showing mixed sentiments. In positive territory, Nairobi Osha Index up 0.96%. Tunisia's Tunidex advanced 0.54%. The decliners mostly dominated market activity. Namibia overall index was down 0.45%, while Ghana's JSE Composite declined 0.34%, and South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40. That is Global Market Reports.
There appears to be no respite in sight for oil producers as the volatility and continuous price slump in the global oil markets continue. The crude oil price slide is said to be the steepest in more than 2 decades, exacerbated by very low global demands and concerns that global storage facilities are rapidly running out. Precious metals enjoy early morning rally as investors seek safe haven. Let's see how the commodity market is faring. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Friday revealed that its private sector coalition against COVID-19, CAR-COVID Relief Fund has risen to 25.8 billion naira. CBN's Director of Corporate Communications, Isaac Okorafor, in a statement said the donations were from 107 donors, including individuals, banks, and other corporate bodies. On that note, let's see how the naira is faring alongside other major currencies. With that, we come to the end of this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is NTA News Now. Don't forget to use the hashtag. It is BizX. Remember to intermittently wash your hands with soap under running water as the world battles COVID-19. Be safe out there. Business Express returns Wednesday. Benny Adams saying, keep thinking and doing business even in the lockdown.